Okay, so today I want to focus on yin yang, love deficiencies, and childhood trauma, and how that plays into your emotional and intimate relationships in the present. Okay? So the first thing you have to understand is yin and yang. You have to understand that yin energy is feminine and masculine energy is yang energy. Okay? And if you don't quite understand that, this might be a little bit harder for you to understand, but not impossible, so don't worry. I will be creating a video about yin and yang sometime in the future. I always say that. I promise I'm getting to all of my videos. But right now I want to just talk about love and what love looks like to a child at a very young age, and how we can go about helping our children so that they don't repeat the same childhood trauma patterns. Okay, so I grew up in a family of all girls. There are 6 girls in my family. There are 9 people in total living in my house, and only 1 boy, just my dad. And my aunt lives with us, my mom, and then there are 6 girls. So there's a lot of yin energy going on. Well, the problem is that because there was so much yin energy, there really wasn't any yang energy, and I actually took on the role of yang and masculine energy because there was such a deficiency for it. So I was like, well, that's my job. I'm an ether, if you know what that means. Okay, so when we're little children, we want to make our parents happy. We will do anything it takes to make our parents happy, okay? The reasoning for this is because we need our parents' love to survive. We need our parents' approval of us in order to feel full and to feel satisfied as a little child. The problem that I'm finding that kids run into is women are mostly traumatized by their inability to receive love as a child. So most of the time, women are more apt to feel neglected. They're more apt to feel sad. They're more apt to feel like they've burdened people. They're more apt to feel sorry, I have allergies, so just keep itching my nose. They're more apt to feel just overall receiving issues, blocked sense of receiving, and all of the wonderful belief systems that comes with. You'll notice that, you say, hey, your shirt looks really good, to a man, and you say the same thing to a woman, hey, your shirt looks really good. She's like, oh, no, it's not, I just threw it together this morning. And it's because women have that hard time receiving, and they're the most traumatized when it comes to receiving, not being able to receive. I will say the person in their life that they're most traumatized is their fathers. If their fathers didn't give them what they feel is adequate enough love, then they will feel like they're a burden, or they will feel like they're inadequate, or they're not worth it, or not worthy enough to be lovable, etc. There's lots of reasons why. So women are more apt to be traumatized, and our trauma responses usually boil down to not receiving love, okay? Men are the exact opposite. Men are the most traumatized when they are not able to give love. Men need to provide. Men need to give love in order to feel full and satisfied, okay? Men are the most traumatized. Little boys are the most traumatized when they are not able to give the love, the validation, or the support that their parents need, but specifically and especially the mother, okay? Women, we often traumatize our little boys because we are not willing to receive love from them. When we're upset and when we're sad, when we're frustrated or when we're angry, it's our motherly instinct for some reason to push our little boys away because we don't want to burden them. But that is in fact showing them that they aren't good enough, or that they aren't capable of loving, or that they aren't powerful enough to, or they're not big enough to support, or whatever. It makes them feel like they're inadequate, because their job as a man, as a provider, even at a very young age of 2, 3, or 4, 5, is to give to women. That's what they want to do. And I'm not saying, this is not stereotypical, okay? I'm not saying that women are not apt to give to themselves. They will. I'm not saying that women can't give to men. They will. I believe there has to be a balanced give and receive in all relationships, okay? That has to happen, okay? But I will say that little boys are the most traumatized. You take any little boy and you put them in a room and you say, what bugged you the most about this situation? And they'll say something like, I wasn't old enough, so I couldn't understand, so I couldn't support someone. Or my mom just pushed me away and would not let me allow her to give her love and attention. Or no matter what I could do, I couldn't make my mom happy. And they place that responsibility inside of themselves because they are yang energy and they're built to give and for women to receive, okay? So little boys are the most traumatized when their mothers, who have had, I don't know, years of issues with their fathers maybe, or with men in general who didn't want to give, now they get this little boy who's 2 years old and wants to give to their mom, and they shut them down because they're not used to receiving, okay? That's what mom does. So on the flip side of this, men, they end up re-traumatizing women because they're like, I'm not good enough. I can't give and I can't provide and I can't do a good job, so there's not really much point in me trying. And so most of the time men will shut down and they won't try to give anymore in relationships because it's not worth it. They're not going to be happy anyways. Mom was unhappy when I tried, or mom pushed me away, or my relationships, my lover, whatever it is, okay? So women are most traumatized by their fathers, fathers feeling like they are incapable or they are not good enough to give or to provide. Men often feel like the role of being the father to a daughter is really an intense responsibility. They don't want to screw her up. They don't know how to feel emotional. They don't know how to give boy advice. They don't know how to do, how do you play with a little girl? Do you play tea party and dolls, or do you wrestle? Do you, sometimes it can be pretty intimidating knowing exactly how to provide for a little girl. So these little girls grow up wanting a daddy-daughter relationship so badly, and dad is never around. Dad isn't available. Dad isn't whatever. And so the little girl feels unreceived love, and that she needed to receive, because the yang is not there, so the yin cannot be there. The giving is not there, so the receiving is not there. And in turn, they coexist, and it causes a really big mess, okay? So one person's not willing to give because they're inadequate, and one person's not willing to receive because they're inadequate. And they keep playing this game over and over and over, usually when we're really young as little girls and little boys. So by the time we grow up and we decide about ourselves that we are inadequate for A, B, and C reason, and therefore it is impossible to have intimacy and to have really great relationships, we attract people in our life that replayed the trauma that we experienced with our mom and with our dad, okay? So my husband and I have definitely done this. My mom is amazing. My dad was amazing. He is amazing, but he was pretty absent, really absent emotionally. Not physically, he was always in the home, but it was like mentally he was gone all the time. And we didn't really get a lot of attention from him and a lot of undivided love. And when I married my husband, I thought it was really interesting because I married someone who has a really hard time staying present, who has a really hard time providing love for me, who has a really, like, he's always physically home, but he's never emotionally available. Well, not anymore. He's pretty emotionally available now, but when we first got married, he really wasn't. And what happened was, I never got that yang from my father, and he most likely didn't get yin from his mother. And so it repeated and it replays until someone has the initiative enough to say, you know what, the chain stops with me. I'm going to let my little boy love me. And I'm going to let him show me that he can smile, or that he can sit on my lap and he can hug me and hold me, and I will choose to be happy because his little love is enough. Okay? So it doesn't stop until we decide to make it stop. And once we decide to make it stop, the chain breaks. Okay? So yin and yang love is really important in childhood. Moms, we need to be okay with letting our little boys love us. I know we don't want to have them see all of our pain, and we want to protect them from ourselves even, because we feel like we're a danger to them. But in order for a thriving relationship to happen for them in the future, in order for them to feel fulfilled in their romantic relationships later on in life, they need to know that their mama was able to be open and vulnerable, and that they are capable of helping her feel better and happy and fix it. Now, this is not going to happen all the time, and I understand that. With little girls and men, they're not as I'll say this, they're not as aware as women are. And so it's really hard for men to break generational chains because they're just not, they're not very aware. But it is possible, especially if you have enough oomph behind it, especially if you have enough care and enough passion behind it that you wanted to provide because you understand this cycle, okay? So I hope this was informational. I hope this was helpful. Understanding is really powerful, and understanding that women are more traumatized by not being able to receive, and men are more traumatized by not being willing to give. It really, really makes a difference in most relationships. And that's why we're going out and setting out and finding these relationships that prove that theory, that we are not good enough or that we're inadequate. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this is beneficial for you. If you're wondering, how do I fix this now? Regression therapy, go into your little ages, give your mom the love that you needed, or that she needed, and then have it fully received. And the same thing with little daughters. Just imagine your daddy there, and imagine him giving you the love that you always received. And obviously that takes a little bit to get there, but regression therapy is a really good resource. And I'm currently being certified in it, so I'm really excited about that. But all right, I hope this was helpful and informational, and I will see you next time.